a switch. Just choose this L2. It is a layer 3 switch by default. But when we do layer 2 switching experiments in the future, use it too. As long as the third layer function is not enabled, it will be fine. So choose L2 is the switch. L3 is the router. After choosing Next, you can also select some corresponding icons here. It's all okay. For example, if you choose a layer 2 switch here, you can select the icon of the second layer exchange here. But we usually finish choosing the router. It defaults to the router icon. Here is the number of nodes added. For example, I'm going to put 2 routers now. Just type 2 here. Wait a moment and click Save below. After saving, 2 devices will come out. Look down. This has memory and flash. Don't worry about this. By default, we don't need to change it, because that's the amount it recommends. Further down is the interface. On the left, this is the Ethernet link. This one does not mean adding an interface to this device. It is a multiple of the default 4. If write 1 here, there are 4 interfaces on the device. If write 2 here, there are 8 interfaces on the device. On the right, this is the serial link. Then we also add 4 serial ports here. Just write it as 1. Then I want to ask you a question. If I fill in 2 here for the Ethernet link, fill in 1 here in the serial link. Wait a minute. How many interfaces will I see on the device? Okay. 12. There will be 12 interfaces on the device. The following do not need to be changed. Then we click Save. Now we can see both devices. These are 2 routers. So how do they connect to each other? Look. Click it. It will become highlighted in the form. Then left click and drag to the right here. I'll drag from right to left, because it's easier. Okay. This worked. Now it will prompt you. Select which interface of R1 to connect to which interface of R2. Below this is R1. Don't confuse its corresponding order. Above is R2. It is viewed according to the current pattern and order. So you have a choice here. Click on You can see. Now the Ethernet port below is 8. 4 as a set. 1 starts with 0. 1 starts with 1. The following 4 serial ports start with S. So there are a total of 12 interfaces on my device. R2 device is the same. Both are 0. Click Save. Save it later. It is equivalent to the successful establishment of this experiment. Now we're going to turn on the device. Drag a box with the left mouse button. Box, select this device. Right-click to open this device. It's turned on by default. After opening, it was gray just now. Lights up now. Then after booting. Now it's time to configure it. This is relatively simple. Just click it. Then there will be the connector that is now associated with the overall device. Sometimes, when everyone is linking here, it may go wrong. You may find, after clicking, nothing at all, or pop up a web page. Let me explain why. There is a setting here. There is an app. Then there is a telnet. Here you can choose what to use. I also installed the CRT. But I personally don't like CRT. I think that interface is too ugly. I usually use shell. If you are used to using CRT, change to CRT right here. Click here. Then when you boot up the device, the one that pops up is the CRT. So you can set it yourself after class. If something goes wrong, just take the time to contact my teaching assistant. Help you solve problems. Now I use such a connection software. Turn on this device. We are now really entered the system of the device. Okay. Let's start by saying some simple commands. We will officially enter some aspects of the equipment today. Slowly start to configure the device. When you get into a Cisco device, it will pop up an interface by default. You will be asked if you want to enter boot mode. The configuration wizard. Usually it's no here. What does configuration wizard mean? If you type yes, then it will ask you to change the hostname. With or without IP. Can't enter the interface. Etc. Something like this. But we usually don't use. This is an emulator. If it's real. When you type no, may ask you to enter a username and password. To log in. The default initial username of Cisco devices is Cisco. Password is Cisco. But the emulator doesn't need this login process. Some models of equipment need to be initial login with username and password. After that we will find an interface. Here is a router. Router is suffixed with a monitoring number. This mode is called user mode in Cisco. It is also the lowest level mode. Then usually we will not be in this mode. Overworked. Because its function is to only view a part of the parameters. It has fewer functions. So the future. If we want to check almost all the parameters of the equipment. Going to the next mode. Privileged mode. Type enable here. Optionally enter all names. Let me show you first. You see. Now the monitoring number becomes a hashtag. It is equivalent to me entering the second level mode. That is the privileged mode. But there is another way. A complementary method. If you want to enter the second mode, you don't need to finish typing enable. We finish typing N here. There are two ways. The first is to press the tab key directly. I can complete this enable. Then press enter. Can also enter the second mode. Press tab, it can auto-complete. If I type N here, I want to finish typing. But I can't remember the letter of the name behind. I can put a question mark here. It will prompt you here. Now all you can type is this command. Enable. So I can press tab here. No matter how many times you press it. It's this one. It's like it completes me. We're in another mode. In privileged mode. Can see any parameter. More than user mode. Although in this mode, we can view many parameters and configurations. But it still has a problem. It cannot be configured now. If configured, I need to go to the next mode. Called global mode. Configure terminal. Also called configuration mode. We enter such a command and press the enter key. So now everyone can see. Add a config after router. It means that you can perform more configurations in this mode. Actually, this is the most powerful mode. You can configure the routing protocol. Configure routing. Change some parameters. Do some strategy, etc. We can all do it in this mode. Further down there is one last pattern. This is very simple. Interface mode. For example, enter the interface configuration IP. Or change the mode. When entering the interface configuration VLAN, we call it the interface pattern. Please